so right now I'm going to be going over how to find your resting heart rate. So, one thing we do need to know about heart rate in general is that your heart rate is measured in beats per minute. So, that means how many times your heart beats per minute. Resting heart rate means that your body has been at a state of rest for at least 10 to 15 minutes. So, this would be your average rest or your average heart rate, basically. So, your heart rate in general gives you a lot of information about your fitness level and as well as your health. So, this is a good thing to know and to keep in mind when doing different activities and going throughout your day. So, your heart rate is measured through a range of numbers rather than a specific number because the way your heart rate works is it's changing all the time. So, your heart rate can differ from your age, your gender, your athleticism or activity level, your stress level, or even anxiety. So, as a woman of my age, an example, my resting heart rate can go all the way from 54 all the way up to 85. Okay, so the way this works is the lower the better. So, if I'm at 54, this means that I'm more of an active person and I'm getting out more, and that my body is not, or my heart is not doing so much work to maintain my lifestyle. However, if I'm at an 85, which is pretty high for my age, that means that my body is doing so much more work, or my heart is doing so much more work to maintain my lifestyle, and that I'm more on the lazier side, and I can probably use some work on the fitness side. So, the way you can measure your heart rate is by finding your pulse, which can be done in many different areas of your body, but the two main areas that I'm going to cover is your neck and your wrist. So, I'm going to start off demonstrating your wrist. If you go from your thumb all the way down into your wrist, you're going to close your palm and then you're going to feel around with your index and middle fingers, okay? And you feel around, and you should look a little bit like this. You can see that, and you'll be able to locate that pulse in which I just did, okay? So the next thing is your neck. If you're looking for your pulse in your neck, which is more of the easier way to find your pulse because your jugular vein is located right here, you're going to go down from your chin, right where your throat starts. You're going to go either left or right, whichever way you prefer, using your index and middle fingers. There's a hollow spot that you'll feel on each side where your jugular vein is pretty much located, and you'll feel for that pulse, which I have located just now. So now how do we measure our heart rate, okay? So the way this works is, remember I said heart rate is how many times your heart beats per minute. So basically, what you're literally gonna do is grab a timer and time yourself for 1 minute and count how many times you feel your pulse within 1 minute. So, an example, in 1 minute earlier, I counted myself at 72 beats per minute. Now let's say we're in class and I say, okay, I'm only going to give you 30 seconds to find your heart rate. Okay? The way this works is we know that 30 seconds is half of a minute. So in order to make a whole minute, we need to multiply whatever number we got by 2. So let's say in 30 seconds, I got 36 beats. Okay? So then I'm going to multiply that number by 2, which would also give me my 72 beats per minute. Now let's say I want you to do 15 seconds, okay? So the way this works is 15 seconds is 3/4 of a minute. In order to get a whole minute, I need to multiply the number I found by 4, okay? Which will give me my 72 beats per minute. And this can be repeated with any number. So you can 10 seconds, and then you multiply that by 6 in order to get your whole minute's worth of beats. So I hope this was helpful for you. And right now we're just going over resting heart rate. Remember, that is when your body is at its full state of rest. So an example of that would be you laying down watching TV or just waking up in the morning without an alarm, because alarms do startle us sometimes. So you might not get a full resting heart rate with that. But other than that, that is how you find your heart rate. So we'll talk more about this in the future on how to find it when doing activity.